So I got the latest Security Plus book today, right here. I ordered it yesterday, and right here, pretty cool, 601 version, and came today. Gotta love Amazon, man. Gotta love that. Free shipping. Came the next day. Ordered it last night. Was here this morning. The unfortunate thing is the USPS is who delivered it. They just left it at the office door. I didn't even get a notification that it was delivered or anything like that. It said delivered by 9 p.m. No idea. When I was down to the office, they let me know that you have a package here. So, what are you going to do? You know. But what I do now is with every new book that I get and everything like that, like I mentioned in the earlier video, the Network Plus is one that's going to be retiring. Well, it is retired. It's out of date right now. And the new one supposedly, through my research, is going to be coming out in August. So I moved on to that. I've got the A Plus latest version from Mike Myers, and now I've got the Security Plus from him. It was one of those situations where I could get it delivered today, where other books I wouldn't get it till like Wednesday or anything like that. I didn't want to wait till Wednesday because I'm not going to be home for one thing, and I want to be able to get into this book. So I ordered this one, but it's a reputable author, so I didn't pay much for it. Got it for free. So now what I do is I go through. Right now I go through like I always do is the exam tips. I highlight them, and I go through the note little captions that are in the book. I go through them and I highlight them, and then I'll go back and I'll highlight all the words that are in italics. I'll highlight all that stuff. I try to break the book down and stuff like that, the highlight stuff and everything like that. Then I'll go through and I'll answer the questions and stuff. And then I'll highlight anything that kind of stands out. Things like, you know, this is what you absolutely have to memorize for the Security Plus test or anything like that. What I'll also do is I'll take a notebook and I'll go through and all these exam tips, I'll write them out. And then anything that's in a note or a tip or anything like that, or urgent or anything like that that's in the book, I'll write them out too. But I separate them too. So I break the book down to make it understanding more and to kind of get more out of the book and stuff like that. But I'll spend my weekend going through this stuff, and we'll go from there. And a lot of people, like I mentioned in the earlier video, the Security Plus, and I've kind of, for my own personal thing, found it a little easier to comprehend the Security Plus than it was the Network Plus. The Network Plus, I'm starting to see more and more with people is a beast. You know, it's really tough. And as I've mentioned, you know, I don't expect these exams to be simple. You know, a walk to the park or anything like that. You really got to understand this stuff. The Try Hack Me site, I'm getting through that, and I have still got a way to go on that to get a first certification on that. But I'm getting through it. I'm about 19% through the one course. There's a lot involved. The one that I went through today and completed today on part of the course that I'm on is the Nmap stuff and everything. And man, that is some fascinating stuff, man. It gives you great hands-on for Linux, which I'm loving. I'm enjoying this. The hands-on Linux stuff. You actually get to go through and most of the questions that are in there, you have to go through the Linux, and they'll ask you, what is the switch for this? What is the switch for that? And how do you get this and this? And you physically have to do these things in Linux to get the answers for this stuff. So it's giving me great visual. It's giving me great hands-on stuff to get all this, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. So I'll go through this book tonight. I'll go through this book all day tomorrow and just break it down and write this stuff down and stuff like that. And I really wanted to get into Network Plus, but I was kind of tossed between, I look at, what happens with the end dates and stuff like that, and I look at that kind of thing. And the A Plus is going to be relevant for a while. The Security Plus just came out not long ago and stuff like that. So I look at that, and the Network Plus just expired in March. And like I said, the new one comes out. Supposedly, the new one comes out in August. So, and I think you have until February to get the NT007 certification. So, you have a while to get that. But as I mentioned before, a lot of these exams and stuff like that are outdated. A lot of the Network Plus stuff is outdated with the topologies and the devices that are used and the cabling and just overall things that you have to know for the exam that are no longer in existence. So could you imagine taking the exam and I forget, I think it's $330 or something like that, take the Network Plus exam and you fail it because you didn't focus on the outdated information. You didn't focus on the outdated, networking or anything like that, and that's what failed your test. And CompTIA makes out either way because now you got to pay another $330 to retake the exam for outdated information. It's ridiculous. These things update every 3 years, and in my experience and stuff like that, they really haven't updated. They may add a couple new things. Usually, the new things that are added are the IoT, and other than that, you're still going through the outdated stuff. You're still talking about hubs. You're still talking about these outdated topologies, the bus topology, the ring topology, the star topology, and you're wasting your time on a lot of this stuff. And if you're going to update this stuff every 3 years, and again, it depends on the individual. Again, it depends on if you're working for somebody already, or working on a company and stuff like that. What do they require? Do they care if you update it every 3 years, or don't they care? Um, I guess it comes down to personal preference or the company that you're working for. If you are working in IT, do they even care that you've updated it or anything like that? As long as you're doing what you're doing, most companies may not even care that you update it. Okay, you have this certification. It just expired. Um, who cares? You've been working for the company for 5 years. Um, they may not care, so it comes down to that. So I'm going to go through this book. Um, Give me something to do this weekend and go through the whole book. And that's usually how I break down my study thing and everything like that. Is what I do is I go through that, um, you know, basically decipher the whole book on things like that, and then I go from there, and then I go through and read the chapters and take it from there. But like I said, I'm getting a lot of great experience on TryHackMe. A lot of people are. Whoever created this TryHackMe, man, shake their hand, man. Commendable to them, the creators of TryHackMe. Because not only did it make it affordable, but man, they really give you an insight on real world things. It may not be advanced stuff or anything like that, but you do get into advanced stuff eventually. You start getting into these rooms where you start doing real life hacking. You start doing real life penetration testing. You start doing real life stuff overall. Um, based on how you build up from there. And the great thing about it is you work at your own pace. So that's the other thing I'm going to do too is I want to get back to that. I want to get my first certification to TryHackMe. I've got a lot to go through on. I've still got to finish up the Nmap stuff. I've got to finish up the Linux stuff. I've got to finish up the Burp Suite stuff. I've got to finish up a lot of mainly networking tools and stuff like that. And they lay it out for a plan for you where, okay, well, this is what's recommended for next. This is what's recommended for next. And they break it down. These are the rooms that you're in. This is how much you have to complete it. This is what you have to complete and stuff like that. So they break it all down. And as long as you follow the path that they've set for you, you should do pretty well and go from there. And eventually, once you complete all this stuff and everything, eventually I want to go back and I want to write down any notes or anything like that. And I eventually want to go back and look at all the questions that I've answered and stuff, and just write those questions down to the answers and stuff like that. Like I said today, I went through a lot of the Linux stuff and picked up a lot of the Linux commands and stuff, and a lot of them seem pretty simple. As far as what you want to do or anything like that, as far as paths that Linux has for learning and stuff like that, but the Linux stuff is just fascinating with that. There's a lot more advanced stuff that I have to go through. I know what I have to go through to complete everything that I want to complete on the Try Hack Me site, and we'll go from there. But like I said, it comes down. It's fascinating stuff. You don't really have to, depending on what you want to get into. You really don't have to jump around on all this kind of stuff where you need 6 or 7 different sites and all this kind of stuff. Basically, what I use is I've got this book now. I've got his A+ book. You have Professor Messer. You have Try Hack Me. There's another one that's called Hack the Box, and there's another one called Fortnite, and I talked about that one in an earlier video and stuff like that. That's not for me. For me, honestly, that's a waste of my time. Um, I'm going to stick with the Try Hack Me stuff and go through that and build up on all the knowledge that I can get from that. I'm going to go through this book this weekend and focus on that, and we'll go from there. And then you have the questions, the practice questions and stuff like that, and go through there, and that sets that kind of thing up. And then you have I mentioned about the Network Plus for the labs and stuff like that. That somebody shared link for that on LinkedIn, for where you can sign up for, I think it was $40 at $39.99 or something like that, for the N10007 thing, where it gives you the hands-on experience for the scenarios and stuff like that, for the quizzes, for preparing for the exam and stuff like that. So I'm going to look into that. So basically, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to focus on this book. I'm going to use the Professor Messer notes and stuff like that to get that. And then I'm going to look into the hands-on labs and stuff to go through that, and keep it simple and base it on there. And only when you're ready to take these exams and stuff like that. And the other thing too is once you get the certification, then you can kind of focus on the interviews and stuff like that. But even that, you can work through that by getting on LinkedIn. And I mentioned LinkedIn a lot, but LinkedIn, there's a lot of people. Like, I have less than 100 connections on LinkedIn, and the connection base that I have right now, I'm satisfied with. I don't need 500, 600, 700 connections from people. The connections that I have right now are basically covering everything that I need to know, sharing their information, sharing their insight, being helpful on stuff and everything like that, and open to when you have questions and stuff like that. They are all I need. And like I said, I have almost 100, but I basically only need about 20 or 30 of them to really get me through anything that I need to get into this field and stuff like that, as far as helpful tips and stuff like that. So, just try to keep it simple. The thing they mentioned about, getting into networking and stuff like that, and learning the Network Plus and fixing and troubleshooting and stuff like that. Start with the simple stuff first. It's always that way. It's not always the advanced level of networking where, oh no, we're being hacked, or are we being hit with DDoS, or are we being hit with ransomware. It may not be that. It may be a cable came loose or something like that, or it may just be, simple little things. But right away, everybody panics, and it's just, I start with simple stuff first, and I absorb all this stuff in. I take all this in. I go back and I go over everything that I learned and stuff like that. And I try to absorb all that, go from there, and take it all in. It doesn't have to be difficult. You make it difficult for yourself. So, enjoy the rest of your weekend and stuff like that. Share my videos, share my channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and give me a lot of views and stuff like that. And let's try to build a cybersecurity network, and help each other out. Enjoy.